All right. So like I said, what I'm going to do is basically just go back through everything I went through this morning. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any time. All
Okay.
right. The main website to get onto Scratch, as you can see, or maybe you can't see it that well, I don't know. It's scratch.mit.edu.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, and Scratch was created by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, basically as a way for people to learn programming without having to write code. And what you're going to see, we're going to write one program today. You don't have to, in this language, you don't write any code. Rather, you take and you grab pieces and you put things together that already exist. All right, so that said, now I'm not going to click create right now, but if I did, that would allow us the opportunity to start a brand new Scratch program. We'll do that in just a couple minutes. If you click explore, and you'll see this towards the end of the period today, but basically you can grab, for example, any of these programs that are out here. So if I was interested in space and I wanted to go and click right here, I'd be able to do so and literally bring the project and all the code in all the stuff that's out here that people share is public. And I'm going to show you how to do that too before the end of the period. All right. What we have done, I've been at Rankin for 4 years. So this is the 4th time I've taught the Summer Adventure Academy or camp, whatever you want to call it. But as you can probably guess, it's the first one that I've taught online. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what we've always done in the past is we've had usually 15 to 20 students at the St. Louis campus. Then the next week we'll have 15 to 20 students at the Wentzville campus. That's how we've done it. And also what we've always done in the past is I've taught it with another instructor. And if I'm teaching, then he will go around and walk around if people have questions. And if he's teaching, I'll go around and ask if people have questions. And that's the way it's always run, and it's run really well. The big thing is we tend to have more people at the St. Louis campus. We usually get 20 people. And where they schedule it is right across the hallway from the bathrooms. The reason I'm telling you that is throughout the entire period, we've got people who are running around. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to go to the bathroom. And they just leave, come back, leave, and come back. So this is a very different atmosphere to teach this in. All right. And it's just me. The person who normally teaches with me, his wife just recently had a baby, so he's out on paternity leave. So, all right. Now, if you need some ideas, and what we have usually done is on Fridays, the last day of class, what we typically do is we tell students, okay, I'm going to give you some requirements. Write a program that does this and this and this, but you figure out how to do it. And we usually do that type of thing in the morning. Then in the afternoon, we invite the parents to come and basically, the students share their stuff with the parents. Well, that's kind of hard to do in this kind of situation. But what I'm going to show you in just a little bit is how you can share projects and have them available out on the internet. So I've got about 5 or 6 programs planned, and we'll see how it goes time-wise. If it turns out that we get through every program and now it's Friday, then what I'll do is very similar to what I just mentioned to you. I'll write some requirements up and I'll say, okay, you guys now have 2 hours to go and try to create yourself a simple program that will do this. And then what I'm going to ask is that everybody takes theirs and saves them and shares them out there, and then we'll take a look and see what everybody has done. Now, if it turns out, if it's the last day and people say, I don't want to do that, you don't have to. I'm not going to it's not my goal in here to force anyone to do anything. So if you ever need ideas on what to do, you can click the ideas tab, and they've got different, some of the stuff that are in here, some are guides, some are tutorials, etc. And there's other stuff in here as well. All right. the about, if you ever want to know anything about Scratch itself, there's parents information, there's educator information, there's all sorts of stuff. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be able to search the website, you can search out here, and I'll tell you later why that's important as well. All right. Now, you'll notice, and yours probably doesn't look like this unless have you created a Scratch account yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. So yours probably looks more like this. Join Scratch and sign in. All right. If that's what yours says, then you probably have not yet created an account. Then what you should do is up in the upper right-hand corner. Can you see where my mouse is here?
Yes.
Just click where it says Join Scratch. And you'll get something like this up.
Okay.
And what this will allow you to do is the only thing that you'll need in order to be able to create programs and run programs and save programs and everything else is an internet connection. You won't need anything else.
Okay.
Now, for a username, it's not recommended that you use your real name. So for instance, I probably wouldn't go do that. You can do it, but you might be giving away more information than you'd really like to. Well, for instance, my email at Rankin is JP Scott. So I tried that, and I believe that was taken. And my old email was Jeffrey P, and that was taken. So I went out and I used my favorite number, which is 4 times. I used that, and of course that was available. So that I made for my username. So you can set up anything you want for a username. I'd recommend you only use letters and numbers. Start it with a letter, and don't put any blank spaces in, don't put any hyphens in or anything else, but make it something fairly simple. And again, like let's just say you wanted to put in hello. There's probably a good chance somebody has hello, so you could put in like hello 1 2 3 4 or something like that. But
Okay.
if you would try to create yourself a username, and then hit the tab key, put in a password, and as it says there, write it down so you remember. All right, I already forgot mine because when I started doing this, it was a month ago, and I used a different type of password than I usually use. So it's recommended that you write it down, and then you have to, as you often have to do, show it again. Now, if let's just say I was going to put in for my password, hello, 1 2 3 4. If I've got the show password, it'll show in here. Otherwise, of course, it'll show like this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So go ahead and set yourself up, if you would, please, with a username and a password, and then just go back to the main page like this.
So how do I leave the Zoom call? Like not leave it, but like go back to my screen.
You should be able to, there should be a minus sign up on top here. And that should minimize your screen. So you can minimize it, and then you should be able to, down on the bottom, it should have a bunch there that are, you should be able to come back to it. You see it up there?
Yeah, I'm out now. I'm trying to get to
Okay.
the Scratch.
Did you get to the join Scratch?
Yeah, I'm making my username right now.
Okay, great. When you're all done, you should be able to click. We'll see. Hopefully there'll be something there that'll say like, I don't remember. It's different because I already have a login. But there should be a button or something that tells you to enter the, after you've entered all the information. You could always click on the word Scratch right here too, and that'll always get you back to the main menu where we are right now. Were you able to create the username?
Yeah, I'm, yeah.
Okay. So when you get back here, then hopefully there's a thing here that says sign in when you get back to scratch.mit.edu. And if you click sign in, it should have your username there. You may or may not, I don't remember the first time if you have to enter your password or not. But after that, it should remember it. So again, yours, of course, will look different than this, but it should have your username and hopefully your password there. Then just click sign in and you're in.
It's saying my passwords don't match, but they clearly do.
Well, they have to match both in
There.
exactly, and even the caseness and stuff has to match.
Now it matches.
Okay. So were you able to get back to Scratch and then click the sign in? So in other words, just click right there.
I'm still making my account.
Okay.
Okay, I'm logged in.
Okay, so you've signed in then, right?
Yeah, it didn't require me to write anything, like my password or anything.
Okay. So your screen should look similar to what my screen looks like right now. And I want to take literally just about 5 minutes to explain what you'll want to do here when you want to start a new project, and that's what we're going to do, is you just want to click on create right there. Okay, so you can go back if you need to your screen, but just click create and that'll start up a brand new project. And ideally, what you're going to see on the screen then is a bunch of stuff on the left-hand side, a big gray area in the middle, and some stuff on the right-hand side with a cat that's over there.
So I pressed create to make this?
That's correct.
Yes, I got it.
Okay. So what you should see on your screen, way over on the left-hand side, you see a bunch of different colored dots that say motion, looks, etc. And then next to it, so the blue thing, the one that's probably highlighted now, what's next to it, to the right of it, those are all the different code blocks that you can put in for motion. If you click on looks, they change to purple. Those are all the ones you can put in for looks, all right, and sound, etc. So I'm going to go over some of those in just a couple minutes. All right, you're welcome to work along with me, however it works the easiest for you. So this whole thing together is called the block palette. Then in the middle, you should see a big gray area with not very much in it. There's like a little shadow of a cat in the upper right-hand corner of that, but it's a big gray area. That's called the scripts area. That's where you drag these blocks that I just mentioned. You drag them into there.
Okay.
All right, and then way on the right-hand side, you see a white window. That's called the stage, and inside of the stage right now is Scratch the cat. That's the mascot for Scratch. And hopefully you can see this, but if you look underneath that, you can see it says Sprite 1, because everything that you put on screen like this, they're all referred to as sprites. Right now, Scratch's name is Sprite 1. If I wanted to change it, I could click down where it says Sprite and Sprite 1. I could just highlight it and type in cat, for example.
Okay.
And then if I hit enter, that'll change the name of the sprite to cat. Then next to that, you'll see that there's a number two number zeros, one that says X and one that says Y. And as you can see right near there, every time, so if I put in there, for example, I'm going to take that X that's got a that's got a 0 in it. I'm going to make it 100 and hit enter, and watch how Scratch moves. He moves to the right. And if I take it and make it negative 100, he moves to the left. And with the Y number, if I make that 100, he moves up on the screen. And if I make it negative 100, he moves down on the screen. Okay? And I don't know where you are in your schooling and what you learn in math, etc. But you know, one of the things that a lot of times people learn around the time they're middle schoolers is you learn how to do graphing and stuff like that. And when you graph, quite often, I'm going to do something. You don't have to do it, but if you want to watch, you can. All right. Let's see. Paint this. That sometimes what you see, when you start to learn graphing, is you get this and you get this. All right. And this point right here, this is called the origin. That is 0.00. That is the same point that's over here, that if I type in 00 right here, that puts the cat, as you can see, basically right in the middle. All right. And the reason I'm telling you that is you can move your stuff around all over the place and do a lot of different things with it. All right. And we're going to go over some of those in just a couple minutes. All right. Now I don't want this plus sign here, anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of it. All right. Now, the area that you see right here, again, this area is called the stage. All right. And I created another one of these sprites. And if I want to make my own sprite, this area that you see where I've got the mouse waving around, that's called the paint editor. And if I want to, I can click on the paintbrush. I've got purple right now, and I can just start coloring and make whatever I want to make. If I don't like it, I can just click the undo key and it's gone. All right. I can go and click on here. Let's see if I make this. If I click next to it, I hit click on the eraser. I can erase some, most, or all of everything that I have if I want to do that. I've got a thing here. This is meant to be a paint bucket. So you'll notice if I come here and I draw something, and then I decide that I want the inside of that, let's just say, to be red. All right. I can click the paint bucket, click on here, and you can see what happens.
Cool.
I can click here. This is the letter T, and it means text. So I can click on here. Now what we'll do probably Wednesday or Thursday is we'll create our own game. And if you lose the game, you type in game over. All right. So we can do that, and we can stretch it out. We can make it higher. We can also stretch it down here and make it proportional. All right. And again, I can put it somewhere around the middle here. Okay. Now, it would be hard if we ran this game right now, because it would just say on the screen game over, and that wouldn't do very much. So we'll talk about how you can get around that in just a minute. All right. So let me remove that. Okay. Then we've got this. This is the line tool. That's the one I showed you. And it'll draw a line. And you'll notice it tries to draw it as straight as possible. If I want to make sure it's a straight line, I hold down on the shift key and I draw with a line. Then it's always going to be a straight line. Also, next to this, I've got, this is called the circle tool. By default, it creates an ellipse or an ellipsis. If I don't want that, if I want it to be an actual circle, then again, I hold down on the shift key and I draw, and it's always a perfect circle then. Okay. And finally, the same kind of thing. This is the rectangle tool. If I click on here, I get a rectangle. Again, I can click and drag any corner over I want, etc. Move it anywhere I want to move it, etc. And if I hold down again on the shift key, as I've been doing, then I draw a perfect square, and it's always proportional. So that's everything that's in this paint editor. You'll notice if you look down here, it says convert to bitmap. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And what these are drawn in here right now as what are called SVG files. You don't have to worry about this, but they're called scalable vector graphics. And they're set up so that they look pretty professional looking. But if you want them to be a little less professional looking, but when you've got a little more creativity, if you want to make your own animations and stuff on screen, you might want to take what you're done and convert it to a bitmap. Okay? And you can go back and forth between bitmap and vector just by clicking on the button there. All right, so that, like I said, that's that. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Okay? And what I want to talk about is this code window that's in here. Again, I spent probably a good close to a half an hour today going over some of the stuff that's in here, not everything. I mean, when you look at this, that would be silly for me to attempt to go through everything that's in there. But I want to go through quite a bit of it. Now notice if I come in here and I drag that out, I just clicked on it with my mouse and dragged. All right, watch what happens every time I click this. Watch the cat. And you can see he's moving 10 pixels every time. Eventually he'll hit the wall and he can't move anymore. All right, so he stopped right there. So if I wanted to, if I made this from move 10 steps to move minus 10 steps, and I started clicking it, now you'll watch and he'll come back. So the first tab that you see here says motion on it. And motion allows you to move around or move things around on the screen. Okay, so if I don't want this anymore, and I don't, I can either just drag it away, or I can grab it and right mouse click on it and choose delete, or the easiest way is just to grab it, throw it into the window here and let go. Now it's gone. Notice if I click this, turn 15 degrees, every time I click it, watch the cat. So if I want things to be able to revolve, so to speak, I can do that. All right, so I can make them turn left or right in a number of degrees. This go-to position, we'll look at that in just a couple minutes. When the program runs right now, let's set this to like 200. I don't know. We'll leave it right there. How about 200 and 100? So you can see right now where the cat is. He is 200 pixels to the right and 100 pixels up from our origin. But if I want, when the program starts, if I want the cat immediately to go back to position 0, 0, I can grab one of these go-tos, put in a 0, 0, and notice what happens when I click on it. Boom, he's back right where he started. All right?
All right.
What you're going to see soon is we're going to do this, where we set this to a random position. We're going to write a program pretty quickly where we want the stuff to start randomly. And a lot of times if you're working on a game, you want things to be random. Today we're going to do a very simple program. The one that we do tomorrow, we're going to do 2 of them tomorrow, are a little bit more complicated. And we'll want to work with random numbers. Today we don't. All right. We can point whatever we're working with in a certain direction. So notice this says point 90 degrees. And when I did that, he moved 90 degrees from where it was. All right, and there's other ones in here, that's fine. The other one I want to show you is this one here that says, if on edge bounce, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say this. Notice how these 2 things will clip together. If I want this to go underneath here, once I get it close, I get a little shadow. And I can just let go, or I can manually click it. Now I'm going to change this from move 10 steps to move 75 steps. So he'll move pretty fast here. Now watch what happens. Now when he hits the edge, I'm telling him to bounce. All right, that's the bounce that I just put in. And he's automatically also going upside down. We can change that. That's no big thing. But just so you see that. All right. That's pretty much it for the things that are in blue. Again, that's my motion. Then I've got this darker purple here. These are looks. Let's say I want the cat to say hello for 5 seconds, and then I want it to go away. All right, if you watch, we get a little bubble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's gone. All right, if I want him to say hello, but I want it to stay there, then I can just leave it there, say hello, and boom, it'll stay there till I tell it to leave. We can make it look like he's thinking if we want. These things right here, this area that's back here that you can draw on is called a costume. And we can switch costumes with that if we want to. All right, there's other things that we can do in here too. Notice we can change the size. All right, change size by 10. Watch what happens to the cat every time I click this. You notice he's getting bigger?
Yeah.
I'm telling him basically to get about 10% bigger every time I'm clicking it. If I made it -10, I can make him go down again. And you'll notice that he's still saying hello because I didn't have a timer on there. I just told him to say hello. I
Wait,
can
so
change. Go ahead.
when, like, you know how the cat can say hello, can you like type something in so
Yes.
he can say whatever you want?
Yes. Where we've got this say hello, let's change it to this. Say hello for 2 seconds. How about I'm hungry? As an example. And notice now I'm hungry. All right. I'm going to, in just a couple minutes, I'm going to show you all the programs that we're going to create. And you'll see when I'll run each one of them, what the cat can do. And it's not just a cat. I could come through here and I could add a new sprite, for example. And let's just say I grabbed, I don't know, let's say I grabbed Avery walking. So now there's Avery. So I can have Avery say something too if I want to. All right, since it's Avery right now, I can have Avery think, for 2 seconds, and boom, there you go. So you can put anything you want in the box here, in the hello box, whatever you want. And we're going to do some of that as well. All right. Let's see. We can change colors on things. So change color effect by 25. It might work a little bit better here. In fact, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to bring the cat back. So if I change the color on the cat, it might work a little bit better. Let's see. And actually, it's not going to do much. There he goes. See that?
Yeah.
How he's changing color. We're going to actually do some of that in our first program. All right. There's different types of graphic effects that you can do. There's also, you may or may not be able to see this, but I'm going to click up here. All right. And I'm going to click on the cat. And can you see these things right here? I can make this bigger or smaller by clicking in here if I want to. All right,
Yeah.
but I'm going to click on the cat right now. And if I want to, I can click, I can bring up this thing that says hide. And notice when I click, he hides. And if I click, I've got a hide followed by a show, he'll hide, but then he'll show again. We're going to do some of that already today. And again, if this stuff confuses you, once we do it, it probably won't, because it pretty much does make sense. If I don't want the walker here anymore, I click here, and I can either click the trash can, or I can right mouse click on it and choose delete. I'll just click the trash can and boom, that walker is gone. So that's motion and looks. The next one is sound. And if I decide I want to play a sound, okay, notice if I click, that's just a popping sound. All right, and I can tell it to continue to keep playing a popping sound or do whatever I want. If I want to bring in another sound other than pop, I can click on sounds right here. And I can click, let's see, where are we? Right here, where it says choose a sound. I don't know if you can see this down toward the bottom left.
Yes, I
I
can.
click right there, it gives me a whole bunch of sounds.
Okay.
So if I decide, for example, I want this drum set 1. If I want to get an example of what it sounds like, I just put my mouse over the arrow. Okay, but all I have to do to bring that in now is click, and now it's available to me. And what you'll see is now it says, instead of start sound drum, I can click the down arrow and I can make it drum. So it doesn't say drum anymore. It had said pop. Now it says drum. And when I start the program, all right, if I click it, it's a little bit irritating, but you get the idea. All right. I can set pitch effects. I can set the volume on it. There's a lot of different stuff I can set with this. I can make it go from softer to louder, etc. All right. The one that you use almost in every program that you create is this events link that's right here. All right. So the first one says when clicked. That means when the program starts. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to tell the program, I'm going to use a couple of these things that I've already shown you. So I'm going to sit there and say when the program starts, I want you to move 75 steps. All right, that's the first thing I want you to do. Then after you do that, I'm going to ask you to hide yourself. Then, and I'm going ahead a little bit, but then I'm going to ask you to wait for 5 seconds. And then I'm going to ask you to show yourself. So notice what happens. I say start the program. Okay? It's happening actually so fast, I think. Oh, I'm not on the cat. There we go. I didn't put it on the cat. I unfortunately put it over here. Let's do it again. Click on the cat. All right. I'm going to tell him to hide. In fact, we'll do the exact same thing I just did. When clicked, we're going to tell him to first move 75 steps, and those are pixels. That's just a unit of measure. Then we're going to tell him to hide. All right. Then we're going to tell him to wait for 5 seconds. So notice I'm changing the number in here. And then we're going to tell him to show. All right. And then we're going to tell him to wait for 5 more seconds. Whoops. And then we're going to tell him to say hello. So when you look at this, this is what you have to understand is the way things work. This when green click means when you click this green flag right here, that starts the program. So when you click that, he should move 75 steps this way, then he should hide. He should wait 5 seconds, then he should show himself again. Then he should wait 5 more seconds, then he should say hello for 2 seconds. Now I can run it right here, or I can click way over on the right here, and this puts me into what's called presentation mode. So when I click this, okay, he walks so fast, he already walked, and I didn't put a wait there. This stuff is actually happening so fast. There's his hello, waiting, etc. That's the program. Now, that's kind of a silly program. I understand that. But I could put waits in all over the place here. So in other words, I could grab this wait that's right here, and I'm going to make a couple of these. So I'm going to tell him to wait 5 seconds, then move 75 steps, then wait 5 seconds, then hide, then wait 5 seconds, and then show, and then wait 5 seconds and say hello, just so you can see how this works. So run it. And I'm not sure why it's not showing me anything, but it's not. So let's go look. Oh, I never told them to show right here. So do that. There we go. All right. So I'll run it again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, show. There you go. He moved 75 steps over from where he was. We're waiting 5 more seconds. He's disappearing. We're waiting 5 more seconds. He's coming back again. We're waiting 5 more seconds. He's going to say hello for 2 seconds. And then the program's over. Now, that was a silly example, but the reason I did it was to show you how you bring all this stuff together. If I wanted the stuff that's happening in here to continue and run over and over and over and over again forever, then I'd go down to here and I'd find this thing that says forever, and I'd put that right inside of it. Now he would keep doing what I just showed you over and over and over and over indefinitely until I told it to stop. All right. There's another thing that's in here that I want to show you, and that's called broadcast. All right. And what I want you to understand, and hopefully it makes a little sense, if I go and I'm duplicating this, I have two cats now. I have cat 1 and I have cat 2. All right. And I'm going to grab cat 2. All right. But, you know, I can do whatever I want to do with either one of them. But if I want these two cats to talk to one another, so let's just say I wanted him to say, hey, how you doing? And I wanted him to say, or her to say, fine, how are you? All right. I can't do it directly. What I have to do if I want two different sprites on the screen to talk to one another is I have to do what's called broadcast a message that I can broadcast out and each one can hear. We're going to do some broadcasting, not today, but tomorrow we'll start doing that. Again, it may sound difficult. It really and truly is not once you start working with it. All right. And then this is the control. You already saw the wait. Here, if I wanted to repeat something 10 times, I could do a repeat and put some code in there. If I wanted to repeat twice, I just changed that 10 to a 2. All right.
Okay.
In here, this is an if-then, and I want to show you, I'm going to bring both of these out. This is an if-then-else. So if I said, for example, if you guess the magic number, then it would give you a message that said, you win the game. And if you didn't guess it, it wouldn't do anything. Here I could put some code in that said, if you guessed the magic number, give me a message you won the game. Otherwise, give me a message that's the wrong number. All right. So, and if you look, the direction that's on these things, the thing that's in here looks a little different. All right. What do I mean? Well, if I go down to this green area that's a little further down, notice that I can put one of these in here, or I can put one of these in here if I want to. So this says if I want to do two different things. If I want to do this, oh, not that. Let's see, here we go. If I want to do this, and these are really, as you can see, for lack of better words, they're a little temperamental. So grab that, put that there, put that here. Now I want to grab this. If I want this to latch on, see how this is getting white? If it does that and I let go, boom, now it's okay. I can bring another one in, wait till that one gets white. Come on. Oh, that's another condition I have to put in. So I can put another one of these in. But the point is, right here, this says if this and this has to be true, and this has to be true, and then I'll do this. If that's true and that's false, or that's false and that's true, or they're both false, I won't do this. All right? This, I either am going to do the code that I'm going to put in here, or I'm going to do the code that I'm going to put in here, because it's an or condition. So that's like saying, you know, for example, if I choose a number that is less than 0, or I choose a number greater than 100, I might give you a message that says, you've got to choose a number between 1 and 100. Otherwise, that meant you chose a number that's valid. All right. The other thing I do want to mention in here before we, let's see, finish up on this is if you look, there's a thing here that says create clone of self. And I'm going to show you one of the programs in just a couple minutes, but we're going to do a brick breaker game. We're actually going to do it twice. But when we do that, we want 28 bricks to appear on the screen. I could write code and either put it in a loop to tell it to do it 28 times, or I could write it 28 times, which would be kind of silly, but I could do that. Or I could tell it to make one and make 28 copies of itself. And that's what we're going to do. So we can work with clones. Not only that, when we get done with a clone, we can delete it. All right, you're going to see all this stuff as we get going. This is sensing. So if you want to see if, for instance, if you are touching, let's say if I'm touching the cat, maybe I never wanted these two cats to be able to touch. So I could say if they were touching, don't, have them move apart or do whatever. All right, I can do it based on the edge of the screen or one sprite or the other sprite. I can do it based on a color if I want to do that. Notice if I click here, it brings up a color wheel. So maybe I've got an area on my screen that when you get into this red area, it gives you a message that comes up, something like that. All right. If I want to be able to ask a question, that's not before like when we said hello, but I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, how old are you? All right, and then wait for an answer. Notice when I click, you can see how it changes. I get the cat says something, but it's waiting for an answer right here. This is the way we're going to do our game tomorrow. Scratch will come up here and say, we're going to do a random number program. Please give me a number between 1 and 100 now, and then it'll wait for the number right here. All right?
Okay.
Okay, we can do different work with the mouse. So when you hold the mouse down or move the mouse up, or when the mouse is in a certain position, we'll do a little bit of that, but not really too much. Current year. I'm not doing this, but let's suppose I asked you to write a program where in that program, I asked you to tell me how many years old you were. And let's say you're 15 right now, but your birthday was 3 days ago. So you're 15 years and 3 days. You might use a year and some of the stuff that's in there to figure that kind of stuff out. All right. Then we've got our operators. Some of these I've shown you. You want to be able to add two numbers. There's the plus, there's the minus, the multiply, and the divide. I mentioned this before. That's pick a random number. You'll notice all of these shapes are kind of a weird oval. That means they'll only fit into things that ask for a weird oval. Notice there's one that asks for a weird oval. So I can do that. All right. But if I bring up something like this, this is not a weird oval. I guess that one is. But if I I'll bring up one of these. I can't, for example, put an oval in an oval. The system doesn't know what I'm trying to do, and it's just confused. All right.
Okay.
I showed you some of this stuff with the and the or. Tomorrow we will go and we will make our own saying. So we'll have the cat say something where we'll combine. If you get your guess, we'll say something like, you guessed the secret number 63 in 7 guesses. And we'll build that statement for the cat to say using what's called the join statement. So you'll do that tomorrow. Mod, if you've never seen this before, all right, if I said to you, what's 13 divided by 2? You'd probably say something like, it's 6, remainder 1. Mod gives you the remainder. So it's 1. All right. If I said to you, how old are you? And you said, I'm 15. And let's say, I said, okay, and you're with somebody now. You say you're with your brother. How old is he? And you say he's 12. Well, there's 3 years between you. And it doesn't matter if you were to say 15 minus 12 or 12 minus 15. There's still 3 years between you. So when you do a calculation and negative numbers don't make any sense, you use ABS, which is absolute value. And there's other things that you can add in there too.
Okay.
All right. Finally, if you want to create your own variables, you come in here and you click this button. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll make our own variable. In fact, we can do it now. So it says make your own variable. Let's say I was keeping score. So now I've got a variable called score. You can see it up here and you can even see its value. Right? If I want to make the score go up by 1 every time something happens, watch the score right there. And I think it might need, let's see, it might need an event to be able to do that. All right. But when you run the program, what's going to happen is it's going to change the score by 1, and it's going to go up. We're going to use that tomorrow. We're going to be keeping score. All right. Let's see. And there's a thing down here that's called make a list. We probably won't get into that, but if you've ever worked with any kind of programming language, it allows you to create a list of values that in some programming languages is called an array. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. All right. And these blocks, we're going to make our own block tomorrow, our own code block. You're going to see that in just a bit. All right.
Okay.
Finally, what I want you to realize, can you see where I've got the mouse down towards the bottom corner here? All right. That says add extensions. Back, we're using Scratch 3 right now. Back when there was Scratch 2, they had an extra tool over here that was called pen, P-E-N. And notice if I click here and I click on pen, that brings that tool back. We're going to use that pen tool in the first program that we write in just a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So I've shown you then that this is the block palette. I've shown you this is the scripts area. This is the stage. You put sprites on the stage. This is the sprites area here. So we've looked at all that stuff. Again, if you want this to run pretty much full screen, you click the button here and you can see the difference in size. You go back to here, you're back on regular size. So you saw that. We went in, if we want it, we're going to go in, we're going to create a project in a minute and we're going to save it. So we'll put the name in there. You really should save often. All right, every 10 minutes or so, just in case your internet goes down or whatever. All right. Let's see. I've shown you code blocks now, how to make the sprite move, and how you can combine these different code blocks together, how they fit inside of one another. If I wanted to make copies of this for some reason, let's just say I had 5 of these, and I want to make a copy of all of it. I could just right mouse click on it and choose duplicate, and now I've got 10 of them if I wanted to do that. If I don't want it anymore, drag it over, boom, it's gone. All right. So what I'm going to do is very quickly show you the programs that we're going to write. All right, very quickly, and then I'm going to give you about a 10-minute break because I'm teaching this the same way I taught it in the morning. Okay. So I'm going to come over here. You don't have to worry about what we're doing. I just want you to watch my screen if you would. All right. I'm going to leave the site. I don't care. So the first one, the one that we're going to create right after the break is called Rainbow Art. So I click on there and I click See Inside. It's not a hard project. It really truly isn't. And we click See Inside and I click on the green button to run, but I'll make it run full screen. All right. So I'll click the green flag and it's kind of meant, you know, to be like a little line drawing type of thing. All right. And it'll go for about 10 seconds. Then the screen will clear and it'll start all over again. There, it just cleared. All right. So we're going to create that one today after the break. And after we do that, then tomorrow, what we're going to do is when we start tomorrow, we're going to create this guessing game program. All right. And when you run that, you can see there's more code, but again, we're not in any hurry to finish this. So we run this and you'll see, welcome, the computer generates a random number between 1 and 100. You attempt to guess it. So it tells you to enter a guess. If I don't put anything in, which would be illegal, it comes back and it says out of range. Must be between 1 and 100. Same kind of way if I put in a number that's greater than 100. I put in 1111, get the same message. But I'll try it and let's see if I can play it well enough. So I'll say 50. And it says it's too low. So I know the number's between 51 and 100. So I'll try it in the middle, 75. And it says that's too low. So I'll try it again. And I'll say 87. That's too high. So I know it's between 76 and 86. It's somewhere in there. So I'll say 81. That's too high. So it's between 77 and 80, I believe. So let's just try 77. Nope. 78. Nope. 79. No, and hopefully it's 80. Because what I wanted to show you was it will show you guessed and it shows you the number of guesses. And it only keeps track of valid guesses. So when we did this and we said, I said 1111, it didn't count that as a guess. When I left it blank, it didn't count it as a guess. All right.
Yeah.
So I don't want to play anymore, so I'm just going to type an N in there for no. Boom, that program is done. All right. The other one that we will create then tomorrow is a Magic 8-Ball. This is meant to simulate the Magic 8-Ball program itself. All right. And if I come in here and I run this, welcome to the Magic 8-Ball program. Ask me any question you dare. You know, I mean, I could put gibberish in here, but I'm going to put in, is it hot outside? As an example. And I click. You can maybe hear that. That's it shaking. And then it comes back and it gives you an answer. No.
The ball lies.
Okay, well, you get the idea, though. It's kind of like if you've got the actual Magic 8-Ball program itself.
Yeah.
You can ask it garbage and it'll, or you can say something like, is it hot outside? And it'll say something that doesn't make any sense. So we will do that one tomorrow as well. And then starting on Wednesday, we will do 2 versions of a program that has a maze in it. I'm going to give you the maze. You don't have to worry about it. First one we do will be a single player. Now, it looks real small, but don't let that bother you. All right. What it is this is a monkey. I should probably make him a little bigger. And that is a bunch of bananas. And the monkey, you use the arrow keys when you play the game. So I'm going to play it quickly. I'm not going to run through the whole thing, but I'm going to play it. And you maybe notice the monkey's moving now. And I can do that and make the monkey move. And when we get done with that, if you get to the end here, all right, I don't have any cheats in here, but it's going to make some sounds. All right, after we get done with that, that's all fine. That's the first real true game that we're creating. But after we get done with that one, we're going to go back to that game. We're going to save it. Then we're going to make some changes to it. And we're going to have a 2-player maze game. All right, so 2 people could play. And you may not be able to tell because it doesn't show that great on screen. But what we have here is the monkey is trying to get to the bananas, and there's an elephant that's trying to get to apples. And the elephant, you can have 2 people play this at once. And the monkey, you use all of the different arrow keys that you've got towards the bottom right-hand corner of your keyboard, and you use the A, S, D, and W keys for the for the elephant. So you'll notice when we do this, come on. Well, for some reason it's not running, but it will. Let's see. There we go. So I can make him move around. And we'll do that, and I've got it set up too, that when he gets down here, it'll play music. All right, we're gonna do all that stuff as a class. Again, I don't know if this stuff sounds hard or not. You'll be surprised when we start going. You'll be like, that's it? Because it's fairly simplistic to do. Then we will do a game, a simple brick breaker game, all right, where we'll do this. And we will run the program, and notice that when I run it by clicking here, you can kind of see what's happening here. If I don't get all 28 down, I get a game over type of thing. But if I go into my code here, and I'm going to make it real simple, and instead of, you know, with the you win, I'm just going to say if I get 1 instead of all 28. So as long as I get 1, it's going to tell me that I won. Oops. See, you win. So we're going to do that. And then we will take that same program and, whoops, I don't want to do of that. Cancel. And for lack of better words, we'll jazz it up a little bit. All right, let's see, where is that one? So we'll change the background, we'll change how it looks, we'll add some sounds, etc. to it. All right, so when we run that one, it's going to look like this. I know it looks a lot different. And then when we run it, so you can see how it changes. So that's what we're going to do over this week. And the plan is, if we get done with all that stuff by Thursday, then on Friday, I'll say, now you write a program that does this. And I'll give you all a couple hours, and then we'll go back and we'll look at what people have done. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a 10-minute break here. I've got about 1:26, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down timer, and I'll put down, how about 10-minute timer. Oh, of course, it's not showing me it here, and it did before. So let's try it again. Let's just Google one. So 10-minute timer. All right. So it's going right now. So when it gets down to 0, we'll come back and we'll continue on. Okay?
Okay.
All right. All right. I may have cut you off. Can you see the game over screen on your screen right now?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. I'm going to stop the share and start the share again. I wanted to show you something else as we get started here. All right.
Okay.
So share screen. There we go. What you should see on your screen right now is it kind of looks like a circle with a bunch of lines coming through it.
Yeah.
And it goes from 0 on. What I want you to understand is, I don't know, again, your mathematical background, but most people, when you talk about it, something being circular, it's 360 degrees. All right. The way that it works in Scratch is it's 180 degrees positive in the first half and 180 degrees negative in the second half. The reason, and I'm telling you that, is when you typically move either to the right or down, you're moving in negative direction. If you're moving to the left, if you're moving to the left or down, you're moving in the negative direction. If you're moving to the right or up, you're moving in the positive direction. And that may or may not make sense, but I just wanted you to see that. All right. The other thing is, and I don't know if these will come up or not, this is what we're about to build. Can you see a thing on the screen that says Spirograph?
Where is it supposed to be?
Okay, let me stop and start it again. All right, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, Back in the early 60s, or I guess late 60s, there was a toy that came out that was called a Spirograph. And you made yourself little pictures, you know, classic kind of designs that look like this. And the way that you did that, all right, and I'm doing this on purpose because I want to show it to you. Let's see. So the way that you did that, this is what came in it. And you take out one of these big circles, you'd put a little circle inside, you'd take your pen or pencil, and you'd start drawing circles, and it would make these kinds of designs. The reason I'm showing you that is we're going to make something that's going to kind of look like this. All right. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back again. Whoops. Let's see. Okay. I don't want this anymore, so let me remove this. All right, can you see the game over on your screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go back to scratch.mit.edu, and that's what I'd like you to do. Can you see the main Scratch screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I want you to be. And I want you, we're going to just start from the beginning. So I want you to click the Create button. And it'll go through this, creating a project. And it always calls the project Untitled something. We don't want that. So take your mouse, put it in this box here, and let's just call this. Now, we're going to be making a program that's going to, for lack of better words, kind of like be rainbow art. So I could call this, if I wanted to, I could call this program something like rainbow art. And that's totally fine. The only thing is, maybe I'm going to create such a good program that when we get done with this, I'm going to show you how to share your program. And maybe other people would want to see my program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my login, my username, Jeffrey P, and I'm going to put dash rainbow. I'll just call it that, Jeffrey P rainbow. So you can call it whatever you want. But what a lot of people do is they use their username followed by a dash, followed by the program name. All right. And as soon as you put that in, just hit enter and it should change the name. Okay. There's about 20 steps we've got to go through. And the first one was starting the new project, and the second one was saving it. So you've already gone through 2 of those. Now, to do this program, we don't need the cat anymore. So you can click on the cat and then just click on the trash can here, and now the cat's gone.
The cat is gone.
Okay. What we want to do is we want to create our own sprite to put out here. There's different ways that we can do this. I'm going to show you the way I think is the easiest and the most straightforward way. So take your mouse and put it down here and see where it says choose a sprite. We want to go up to the third one, the one in the middle that looks like a paintbrush. And we want to choose paint. And that's going to bring this up, and you've already seen this before. We already talked about this. But what we want to do is, first of all, we're going to, for our fill color over here, we want this to be red.
Okay.
Okay, so I've made that red. And I want to click on the circle. And I want a real little circle right in the middle here. And so I'm going to hold down on my shift key, and I'm going to draw a real little circle and let go. That's actually bigger than I need, but it's fine.
Let me do that really fast.
So I'm going to do that again just in case you had any problems with it. So I'm going to remove this and draw it all over again. So I changed my fill color to red. I don't need any outline, so that's totally fine. And I'm going to click on the circle, hold down on the shift key and draw a real little circle right there.
Okay.
Now, of course, if I ran the program right now, there's just this dot, and it wouldn't do very much. All right, but I mean, I could, but it's just not doing much of anything. I don't like my circle. I'm going to get rid of it and redraw it because it's got a black outline around it, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to remove this. Or if I wanted to, I could just hide it. I could click there and hide it too. Now, for some
But when
reason,
you make your circle on the paint thing, it goes to the center of your stage. Mine doesn't do that.
you can automatically make it do that. Just come over here and just choose 0, 0.
Oh.
All right, but that's fine. Either way is fine. It's no big thing, one way or the other. It really and truly isn't. Now, I don't really, like I said, I don't want this black background around mine, so I'm going to click on it. Why it's not? I don't want stage. I want sprite. Don't worry what I'm doing right now. Somehow I just goofed up my screen. I don't know how, but I did. So, and it's got me stuck. So I'm gonna just start it all over again. I'm gonna create it again and just start it all over. I don't know what happened, but occasionally, like anything else, it can get stuck. So. Now, I guess I already had one called that, so I don't want that. File, new. My rainbow. Now, I know I don't have anything called my rainbow. Hit enter. There we go. All right, so I'm going to remove the cat, like we did before. I'm going to go over here to where it says choose a sprite, click on the paintbrush, just like we did. I'm going to click over here. I want it to be red. It doesn't have to be, but it's not. That's a pretty good color for starting. So, and I don't want there to be any outline. So I'm going to take my outline, which is now black, and I'm going to try at least to make it white. There I have no outline. That's what I wanted. Okay, now I'm going to go and draw myself a circle. All right, so there it is. Okay, and I think that's right where you are. Now, what I want to do then, if you look, probably on yours too, my costumes is the thing that's open right now. That's this editor in here. I want to click to where it says code. All right, so please do the same thing.
What do I have to do?
If yours looks like this right now, you want to go up in the upper left-hand corner, and where it says costumes, click where it says code.
I don't know why, but I can't make mine like not have an outline. It just keeps going back to black.
That's okay. It won't hurt anything. It won't. It really won't.
Okay, I'm back at code.
Okay, so you're by your code. All right. First thing we want to do is sprite 1 is a silly name. So I'm going to click inside of the sprite, and I'm going to change the name in here from sprite 1. I'm going to give it another silly name, but I'm going to call it dot 1 because it's a dot, and we're going to make 4 of them eventually. But it's my first dot, so I called it now dot 1. So please change the name of it to dot 1.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Okay. Then what we want to do is we want to start adding some of this code. So go to where it says events here in your palette block here, and click on that and find the top one that says when clicked. All right.
I have it.
Okay, then drag that out there like I've got. Next, click on your motion and go to the top and go to a move 10.
Okay.
Now what that's going to do is basically it's going to move it 10 pixels from wherever it is. It's just going to shift a little bit on the screen. But what I want to do is I want this to start in a random location. I want it to, so every time it starts, it's going to start someplace new. And how do I do that? where it says here, there is a thing over here that says point, where is it? Point in direction. I'm going to click that. And now it says point in direction 90. Well, I don't want it 90. It's always just going to point in one direction. I don't want to do that. Do you have this stuff on your screen?
Yep.
Okay. Then we want to click this green thing over here, and we want to find the one that says pick random. And we want to put it right inside of where it says 90. Make sure that you get the little outline on it, and then let go.
Yep.
And change it so it says in here, instead of 1 to 10, we want it to say negative 180 to positive 180. Remember that circle picture I just showed you? That's going to tell it to start someplace in there. So still, if we ran it, it moved a little bit on the screen, but that's all it did. So we haven't really done much of anything so far. So we've got to add a little bit more code. What we want to do, though, is we want it to start bouncing around the screen like crazy. And it's pretty easy to do. We go over here to where it says control, and we click on that, and you find your forever block and put that in there.
Okay.
Okay. Then we got to go back up, and we want another one of these. So I'm going to click motion, and I want to take one of these move 10s and put it inside of the forever block. And one more thing we want to do here is we want to, in our blue area that we're in here, we want to find where it says if on edge, bounce. And make sure these two are both inside of that forever block.
Okay.
All right, now if we run the program, notice what happens. So it's moving around a little bit. All right.
So how do I do that? How do
you do that? Okay. You're right here. You click the green flag right here, or you click these things with the 4 arrows and then click the green flag.
Okay.
Did you find it?
Yep, my little thing is bouncing.
Yeah, that's good. That's what it should be doing. So we've got our first dot. We want to make 2 more of them. We could go through everything all over again, or we can right mouse click on here. So right mouse click on the sprite for your dot down here in the bottom right hand corner, choose duplicate or duplicate, and then do it again.
Okay.
So you now have 3 dots, dot 1, dot 2, and dot 3. And guess what? They all have the same code. So if I move this over a little and then move this over a little, notice there's dot 1, dot 2, and dot 3. You can see how the code window is changing a little. If I want to know which one is which, watch when I click on dot 1, one of these will flash real quickly. See that? How that flashed?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, watch. You have to watch my screen. You should be able to do it on yours too.
Okay.
And if you click on there, it should show. If I click on dot 2, then that one will show. And finally, if I click on dot 3, then that one will show. So if
it's
I
like making a little blue outline around the circle,
yes, exactly. That's what it should be doing.
Okay.
And if I run the program now, see what I've got?
Yeah,
it looks like a mess, but it really isn't. All right. And if you run your program, it should look similar. It might not look exactly. Remember, it's running in random locations.
Yeah, they're all bouncing now.
Right. That's exactly what you'd want then. All right. So again, if you didn't notice it, the code copied from dot 1 to dot 2 to dot 3, which is good because that's exactly what we want. We want the code literally to copy to each one. All right. Okay, believe it or not, we're halfway done already. So what we're going to do next in here is we're going to make one more copy. So right mouse click on the dot again and choose duplicate or one more time. But this one we don't want to call dot 4. We're going to change the name of this one to drawing dot.
A
Give me
what?
one. Drawing dot. DRAWING dot. You can put blank spaces in here in these names if you want to, or you can run them together. Either way is just fine. So this is now drawing dot, but the thing is, with the drawing dot, I don't want that code. I want to put in different code. So make sure you've got drawing dot chosen and just take the code and drag it over because we don't need any of it. So you just want an empty code window.
Yep, got it.
Okay. All right. So what we want to do now, if you remember earlier, I showed you in the bottom right or bottom left-hand corner this add extension.
Uh-huh.
We want to click that and we want to bring in the pen. You should see you've now got a pen tool down here.
Yeah.
And it shows you all this green stuff.
Yeah.
So we clicked it and you chose pen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So we want to write 2 different code blocks in here. So we want 2 different when clicked. We want one here. We want one here. All right. So we're going to write some code now. We're going to drag some stuff in. After we've dragged it in, believe it or not, we're pretty much done with the program. So
Okay.
how do we do that? The first thing we want to do is we want to make sure we're starting with an empty screen. So if you've got your when clicks here, go down and click on your pen
Mm-hmm.
and choose the first thing that comes up, erase all, and put it right there. That'll erase the screen when we start.
Okay.
Next, we want to go in and we want to we want to click down near the bottom here, change pen size.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1 right now, which is kind of thin. So I'm going to double that and make it size 2. So far I've got when clicked, erase all, change pen size by 2.
Yep.
All right. Then I'm going to go over to my control down here. And now I want an infinite loop. I mean, I want this to run forever. So I click on control and I find the forever. And I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to put in about 6 different lines that I'm going to drag over for in here. The first one is I want to go back up to my motion here. And you'll notice if you go down in your motion, there is a, where is it? There's a go to, all right, random position. See this? Go to random position.
Mm-hmm.
We want to bring that in. And we want to click the down arrow by random position. We want it to go to dot 1 because that's going to draw our first dot.
Dot 1. Got it.
Okay. And after we do that, now if you read the documentation for Scratch, if you read their documentation, it tells you that when you're working with the pen, kind of close your eyes and imagine that you've got a slow moving turtle. And you give the turtle a magic marker that's open. And now what we just did was we're about to tell that turtle to write its first dot. And the way we do that is we take the pen and we put the pen down. So that's going to draw our first dot.
Okay.
And after we do that, we're going to go back up to motion here. And we're going to find that go-to thing that we just found, that go-to random position. And now we're going to go to dot 2. And right underneath this, we want to do it again. We can either drag another one over, or we can just right mouse click just on where it says go to dot 2 and choose duplicate. So I want to go to dot 2 and I go to dot 3. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, when we're done with that, we want to go back to our pen. And instead of a pen down like we did here, we want a pen up. And then last thing we want to do in this block of code, we want to change or set our pen, change our pen color. We'll leave it 10. Okay? So tell me when you've got everything that's here.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Then I'm going to go into this big presentation mode and I'm going to run it. And you can see what we have.
Yep, I pretty much have the same thing as yours.
That's great. Now, I'm going to click the stop sign to make it stop. And I'm going to click these arrows here to make it go back to regular mode. There's one more thing I want to show you. You can do this if you want, but you don't have to. All right? You probably noticed that when you ran that, it looks pretty nice. I mean, it runs pretty fluently, etc. But maybe you've played a video game at some time in your life. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. But maybe you've gotten to a video game where it runs and it's running super, super, super fast. Well, when I run this, if I click this button here, before I click the green arrow, if I hold down on my shift and then I click the green arrow, I go into what's called turbo mode. And look at the difference.
Wow.
So if you were running a game and you wanted maybe the user, maybe it was like a Pac-Man game, but you wanted the user when it ate a dot to be able to go unbelievably fast, you could put it into turbo mode. All right. Now, when I stop it, if I start it again, it's still in turbo mode. So to turn it off, I do exactly what I did before. Shift and click on the arrow and then do it again. Now it's back.
Okay.
All right. So the only thing that's bad about this is if I let it start, you don't have to run yours, but what's going to happen is pretty soon it's going to fill up the entire screen. And it's almost to where it's real hard to see what's being drawn because the whole screen just kind of looks like, ugh. So what we're going to do over here is we're going to tell it every 5 seconds to go and clear itself and then allow us to redraw the screen again. And the way we do that is in this when click that's here, we're going to go down to control, add another forever block. And there's only 2 lines of code we're going to put in here. First, we're going to tell it to wait. And you can adjust this any way you want. I'll make it about 5 seconds. And then we're going to tell it to do an erase. So I'm going to my pen and do an erase all. Make sure, again, they're both inside of the forever block. So I've got inside of the second one a forever block, then inside of it says wait 5 seconds and erase all.
Yep.
And now notice that if I stop this and I run it again, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, see, it's redrawing. Every 5 seconds, it'll redraw itself. Now, if you look, can you stop for a second and look on the screen here? Can you see this dot and this dot and this dot?
Yeah.
Those are our dots we drew. That's the program. It's just basically redrawing. Okay, so that's what we have just done. One last thing, and I'm going to show you. I didn't even show the people this morning. I guess I forgot to. But can you see over on your bottom right-hand corner, can you see where it says backdrops?
Yeah, wait.
It's down near the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Take your mouse and where it's got the backdrops, click on the bottom one that says choose a backdrop. And the one I chose, you could choose any one you want. The one I chose was this galaxy right here. So just click on it and then go back and run the program again. And you'll notice that it looks different. The background at least looks different. Okay? Now, if you want to, and you can do this now, you can do this later, it's totally up to you. But we can go back. If the pen size is too big, you can make it smaller. if I want the color to not change as quickly, instead of changing it by 10, I'm going to change it by 1. And you saw what it looked like here. Look at the difference when I changed the color by 1. The change is much more subtle in there.
Yeah.
And if I come back again, and I'm changing my pen size by 2, I don't know why it looks that thick, but it does. I'm going to set it back to 1, and I'm going to run this again. And it's not, for some reason, it's not changing my pen width. I may have, no, that's the right, that's right. Change pen size by. I don't know why.
And to save this, do I press save now?
Yeah, what you'll want to do to save it is you'll want to click File and then Save Now.
Okay.
All right. And then you've now completed your first program. All right.
Yay.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now, what I'd like you to do, and believe me, after we do this, if you change your mind, I'll show you how you can get rid of it. But I don't know if you can see, yours will be different than mine, but if you see where I've got the mouse going back and forth, this should be where you are. You're at scratch.mit.edu/projects, then you've got a number that's different than my number. I know you do. Everybody gets a different number. But mine says 411378132 or something like that. Now, I'm going to click the button over here, and I'd like you to do the same thing. First, if you've done a file save, so click the button here that says Share. And what you may or may not notice, looks, well, where's my program? Well, it's still there, but now that number is up here.
Wait, so how do I share it?
You click the button that says Share.
Wait, how do you get to that screen? I'm still in Create.
No, well, I'm not sure because you shouldn't be. Let's go back. We'll go back again. Okay. So I'm here. I just did my file save now. All right. It's already, mine's been shared, but do you have a button over here that's orange that says share?
No.
You don't. All right. Then we'll try this. Okay. You've done your file save. Okay. Click the back arrow button that's up here. That should get you back to scratch.mit.edu, or you can just type it in. So you're back at, at the Scratch page.
Well, trying. I don't know. I'm stuck.
That's okay. Oops.
It's not really working.
See if you.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, you're there. You can always just click the word Scratch here too.
Okay.
All right. So yours over here should have your username in it towards the upper right where my mouse is going. Does that have your username on it?
Yeah.
Then click the down arrow and choose My Stuff.
Okay, I got it.
Then find your rainbow. Find your rainbow that you just put in there, whatever you called it, and click the See Inside button. That should bring it up on your screen.
Yep.
Now do you have an orange share button there?
Nope.
I don't know. You're the only person that's happened to. I'll have to investigate that. I'll tell you what, if you would watch what I'm doing, you will be able to do it. I'm just going to Google later. Share button doesn't appear. I don't know what the problem is.
Okay.
All right. I'm not sure what the problem is. But when I click share, it changes. And now my URL is scratch.mit.edu/project/ with that number. So I can come in here and I can say, this Scratch program is actually a takeoff on the old Spirograph toy from the 1960s. It's not a game. but have fun anyway. So you could put whatever you want there.
Okay.
All right. And I base this off of a guy who's got an online book, and I'll show you where that is later. But if I want to give credit, I can say credit, as an example, credit goes to Mr. Al Swigert and his textbook, which you can read online for free at inventwithscratch.com. So I put that stuff in now. Okay? So it's there. Okay? No, I don't want to add to studio. I can copy, I can do whatever. Other people can now make comments on this, etc. I'm going to go back to Scratch here, and this is what I want to show you. Now that that is there, all right, if I wanted to, and this you can do if you want to. Hopefully now this will work okay for you. Now, don't do what I'm doing yet, but I want to be able to give you a URL in just a second.
Okay.
All right, if you go to the URL that's right up here, okay, I don't know how well that you can read that, but probably have better eyes than I do. But if you go there, you should now have this screen. So if you go to scratch.mit.edu/projects/whatever it is, 4113-78132, I think, you should have this. Now, you see that or not?
Yeah, I see your my rainbow thing.
Okay. Do you have a button that's there that says remix? It'd be up here someplace. Do you have a thing there that says remix?
I'm not exactly sure how to get to that though. It's like, do I press my stuff again?
No, what I want to tell you is, if you see a thing that says remix, what it'll do is it'll take and copy my program to your screen, and then you can make any changes you want on it because you're working with a copy.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, with yours, I'm going to have to check on it and let you know tomorrow. I've not seen it before where it, I mean, I believe you, but I haven't seen it before where it doesn't show the share button. Okay, we'll see if we can fix that tomorrow. Now,
Okay.
notice that when I do this and when I share all this stuff, if I decide I don't want to share it anymore, for example, I can go right here and see there's an unshare button. If I just click that, now no one else can see it. But if I want to share it again, I got to go through the process that I went through before of doing the see inside, and then hopefully, again, this is what should appear on yours, is that share button. I don't know why it isn't, but as you say, it isn't. But what I'm trying to tell you here and what I'm trying to get across to you is what I've shown you, and again, you couldn't do all of it, is how you can share and unshare a project. All right?
Okay.
And just so you know, some of the other stuff that's also in here, there are a bunch of online tutorials. So if you want to start doing some of your own stuff, you could do that. All right. And if I go back to the regular Scratch thing right here, create starts a new project, explore. All right, let's try this one with you. Click, do you have an explore button up here on yours? Go back to just click Scratch. Click Scratch like we've got here.
Yes, I have an Explorer.
You have an Explorer or you don't?
I do.
All right, click on Explore.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you see what I see here on the screen?
Yeah.
Let's just choose the spaceman here. So go ahead and click on the link for the spaceman. Now do you see a remix button?
Yeah.
Okay, click the remix. that has now copied that person's program to your screen. So if I decided, for example, you don't have to do this, but if I decided, for example, that I wanted to come in here and I don't know, have the, add something up here, add some more code. So notice we've got a hide right here. Well, maybe I decided that rather than it hiding, what I wanted to do is I wanted to wait for 5 seconds and then hide. So I can grab, that's my copy of their code. So now I'm telling it to wait for 5 seconds and then hide. So I can come in here now and I can run their program. And it's kind of a silly program, but you can see it and I can have it, I can add code to it. I can do anything I want to do to it. Not only that, after I get done, what I can do is I can take my remix that I have here and I can share it so and other people can remix my remix. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, I've got a 3-year-old granddaughter and she's into Disney princesses. Reason I'm showing you this is Moana puzzle scratch game. Let's see, where is that? Let's see, somewhere in here, and I'm not there. Maybe this is it. I found this thing. It doesn't look like that's the one. But it was a Disney Moana, and it really and truly was a puzzle. Okay, scratch, well, it says here puzzle game piece. Maybe that, no, that's not it either. Doggone, I should have kept it, but I removed it. But the point is, what I'm able to do is I'm able to, once I find that, I'm able to bring that puzzle game up. And what I want to do, I'm not going to do it right now, but what I eventually want to do is when that game comes up, there's 13 different Disney princesses. I want her to be able to choose the Disney princess she wants, and there's different levels in the game. She's 3 years old, but she can already use an iPad better than I can. And she'll be able to go and make puzzles, basically based on the different Disney princesses. So I'm going to remix that Moana puzzle, add stuff to it, and then put that out there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So again, just some of the stuff that I was trying to get across to you there was that My Stuff folder, how to click the share button, what happens when you click the share button, how to share something and unshare something. I know, like you said, you've had problems, but we'll see if we can get that fixed.
Okay.
All right. I do want to mention a couple more things to you here. The first one is this. I know you've seen this already, but when we do come in here, where are we here? Right there. So if I come through here right now and I click that I want a new sprite, for example, and I choose the paintbrush, this is where you create your own stuff. And the reason I'm telling you that is, again, we're going to use the text tool. I don't remember if I showed you this or not, but we're going to do like game over when we do eventually when we do our game that we are going to create. And I want to put it about in the middle. You can already see now it's game over. All right. And I can click on this and make it a lot bigger. So you can see how it changes when I do that. All right. And then we can hide that and we can show that. We can have this be its own sprite. And since it is, we can come in there now and I can go to the code window and I can say, hey, what I want you to do is when the program starts running, so when clicked, I want you, let's just suppose right now that the way this game is being played, what I want to do is I want this to hide. And then I want it to wait for 7 seconds. I'm just making this up. So I want it to wait for 7 seconds. And then I want where it says game over, then I want it to show. All right. So notice now when I run the game, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007. There it is. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next week. And you can see how they've added in here, how the guy has gone in and added his own, he has added his own sounds and other stuff in here.
Yeah.
So again, this is what the class is about. Now, what I ended up doing with you that I didn't exactly do with them, and don't worry if you can't see the screen, I'll give you a share, all right? This is what we went over in class today. So, I mean, usually when I do a lecture and then I do it again, like later in the day, I'm probably either talking faster or we're going over it a little faster than we did in the morning. All right. Do you have any questions on any of the stuff other than you couldn't get the share button? Is there anything you had a problem with?
Yeah, I didn't really understand the part where, like, you know, that or thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't really get
Okay.
that.
That's okay. Then I'll go in and create a new project. You don't have to, you can just watch or you can create your own, whatever's easiest for you. All right, so let's do this. We will have, when the program starts, we're gonna have Scratch come in and we're gonna have him say, let's see. I'm gonna come in here and I'm going to do an if else. This will make sense to you. Give me about 30 seconds. All right, and let's see, we want one of these.
Yeah, those things like or and and.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to show you in just a second.
Okay.
So let's see. All right. So I'm going to grab one of these pick randoms and I'm going to put it, let's see, I've got to do an equal sign. I'm going to put one here. And I'm going to put one here. All right. I'm going to create a random number, okay, right now. This is going to allow me to create a random number between 1 and 10, okay? And I'm going to actually do it twice. I'm telling it to create a random number between 1 and 10. And this says, if the random number that I create is 4, or if the random number that we create is 7, so if it's 4 or 7, I'm going to want the cat to say hello for 2 seconds. All right. If it's not one of those two, if it's not one of those, I'm going to have the cat say, sorry, wrong number. So again, what this means is the program's going to start running. It's going to generate a random number between 1 and 10. If the random number that it generates between 1 and 10 is either a 4, or if it's a 7, Scratch should say hello. If it's anything else, so if it's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 5, a 6, an 8, a 9, or a 10, Scratch should say sorry, wrong number. Let's look. Sorry, wrong number. So that means if I do it enough, he should eventually say hello. Okay, so what this means, let's take this right here and duplicate it and bring it out. Whoops. I'm going to grab this whole thing here and duplicate it and bring it out here. Come on. So I'm going to grab that and take it out and grab this and take it out. There we go. All right. This says right here, or means if this is true, or if this is true, then you want to do this. If this one's false, or if this one's false, you want to do this. When you do something like that that can be true or can be false, it's what's referred to as a Boolean condition, B-O-O-L-E-A-N. You don't have to worry about it, but it's a mathematician that was born about 200 years ago. And he came up with this logic, true or false. All right. So for instance, this could have been something like, if you are married or you're engaged, say, congratulations. Otherwise, say, oh, guess you're still looking. Something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So with an or, if this one is true or this one is true, you do this. All right?
Okay.
But if it's instead of an or, if we had done this and we had said, instead of the word or here, if instead we had used one of these, let's bring these in. So if we instead, again, whoops, let's see, get that out of there, we go. If instead of an or, we had used an and here, they would both have to be true. Now, if I put this one in there, it's never going to say hello because a number can't both be 4 and 7. See the difference? This is 4 or 7. This is 4 and 7. The other one that's in here is the word not. And I'm going to just grab this one again. And with this, as long as the number that they generated was not a 4, it would say hello. Only when it generated a 4 would it say, sorry, wrong number. So if I drag all of this out of here, and I put this, whoops, sorry. If I put this one back in here, come on. There we go. And I run the program, notice it's saying hello, it did generate a 4. But when I, wow, so if pick random is 4, okay? It's giving me a lot of 4s, but you can see it. What I want you to be able to understand from this is the difference between an and condition when both things are true, and or condition when either one is true, and a not, which is an inverter. And I will tell you, I explain this to the regular college people, and I'm going to explain it to you the way I do to them. All right? Let's assume, let's pretend for a second that it's Friday, and to celebrate us, everybody getting through the class, I'm going to have a party. And I say that if you want to come to this party, all right, 2 things have to be true. Okay? You have to, let's say, for example, you have to live in Missouri and you have to have taken this class with me. So there's 12 of you in the class. So potentially all 12 of you could come to my party. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, it turns out that, let's just pretend for a second, you don't live in Missouri, you live in Illinois. You can now not come to my party because you had to both be in the class and live in Missouri. So since it's an and since you don't live in Missouri, you can't come to the party. But now I realize that it's the day of the party and only 2 people are coming. So I change it because I realize a bunch of people live in Illinois. So now I change it to, if you took the class or you live in Illinois, you can come to the party. Now anybody from Illinois who finds out about it can come, or anyone who's taken the class can come, or if you've taken the class and you're from Illinois, you can come. All right, does that make a little more sense?
Yeah, it makes more sense.
Okay, so we're gonna run through this stuff tomorrow. You're gonna run through a lot of code. All right, that's basically what I went through with the people today. Do you have any other questions? You know, again, as soon as I get done, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to literally Google in Scratch 3, share button does not appear. So I'm going to put that in. My share button is not there. All right. And it says it should look like this, and it doesn't. And I'm going to see if, let's see, cannot see my share button. Where should it be? It should be next to the project button. Yeah. Was the project previously shared? Well, I don't think you did that because you didn't have it. Then it says make a screenshot. All right. One thing that if you know, I will look through this, but let's assume that you've got a question about this and you're like, I'm just totally confused. I don't get any of this stuff. Well, what you can do is you can come in here, and if you go to one of these, for instance, I'll go to Explore, and I'm going to go down to the bottom. There's a community in here where there's a discussion forum right here. So you can come in there and go to the discussion forum. Let's say we can't figure it out. All right. So we can come in here and we can search, for example, share button does not show, and hit enter and see if nothing found. So nobody's had that problem. But what we can do now, since, you know, I know you can't share yours, but once you can share it, you can go and literally put in the URL that's up there for your share button. Let's say for some reason you were able to share it, but now the share button's it's gone again. You can go in and you can ask questions in that forum, and people will come in and answer them.
Okay.
So I will go in, like I said, I am going to go in here and look and see if I can find why the share button is not showing. All right. If I find it out, I will send you an email. Otherwise, I will let you know tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I had, unless you have anything else.
No, I think that's it.
Okay. I'll talk to you tomorrow then. Have a good
Bye.
rest of the day. All right. Bye-bye.
You too.